solitary confinement is a punishment. A lack of attention, okay? Well, this is the solitary confinement of the future. Yeah? Thousands of people in their own world, yeah? And the overlord, walking around outside. Right? Zuckerberg could kill that guy there, and nobody else would know, because they're all locked in their own worlds. Well, this is kind of what they want. Instead of being sort of hooked up in the goggles and the headphones and stuff, they are connecting the brain directly to the internet. Yeah, they apparently, according to them, they've already done it. And it won't be with wires; it'll be wireless. This is what Elon Musk is doing, is Neuralink. No wires, it's going to be beamed directly into your head. So they basically want you connected to the internet, to the matrix, all the time, essentially, so that you become a thing on the Internet of Things. But it's not just a one-way thing, it's a two-way connection. And this is one of the things I think they're going to do with that two-way connection.
Electronic mind control research is not new. A scientific milestone in this area came in the 1960s when Dr. Jose Delgado demonstrated remote control over a charging bull. By connecting a radio antenna to electrodes inserted into the bull's brain, Delgado proved that the animal's aggressive impulses could be thwarted by electronically manipulating the bull's muscle reflexes.
Do you realize the fantastic possibilities if from the outside we could modify the inside? Could we give messages to the inside? But the beauty is that now we are not using electrodes.
In recent years, Delgado has shown that the behavior of monkeys can be altered using low-power, pulsating magnetic fields. But in these experiments, there were no antenna implants.
Any function in the brain, emotions, intellect, personality, could be perhaps modified by this non-invasive technology.
Delgado's research has so far been limited to animals. But in the Soviet Union, a radio frequency, or RF device, has been used for over 30 years to manipulate the moods of mental patients.
So did you see how pleased he was? That he could alter the behavior and personality and intellect of somebody just with radio frequency. Yeah? Well, funny enough, in 2016, I found this news story. Let's get out of everybody's way. It's about a genetically engineered magnetic protein, yeah, that can remotely control the brain and behavior. It says, a new method for controlling the brain circuits associated with complex animal behaviors. A magnetized protein that activates specific groups of nerve cells from a distance. Yeah, you can't see it, but it says they become sensitive to radio waves and magnetic fields by attaching neurons in the brain to iron-storing protein called ferritin. Ferritin, okay? I also found this a little more recently. Spike ferritin nanoparticles show potential as SARS-CoV-2 vaccine. Right? Nanoparticles, which means get beyond the blood-brain barrier into the brain so it can attach to neurons. Yeah? So, does anybody remember this? Yeah? People being jabbed and suddenly they become magnetic. It's almost as if some kind of magnetic protein was put into their bodies. Yeah? So what I think they're trying to do, they're basically going to try and connect us up to the internet directly, right? And so we can end up playing in their matrix. Yeah. So we're, having a wonderful time. All our senses have been overridden, so we can't feel what's going on in the outside world. And while we're playing in the matrix, our body might just stand up and march its way into the extermination centre, and our game will suddenly end. Yeah? Now, well, actually, they might sell it to us because they probably give us these monotonous, dirgy type jobs, and I would say, well, you know what? You can just do your job and not be there. You can play in the matrix while your body does the job. Wouldn't that be great? And then they've got us, right? Well, you might think this is, these two scenarios are like far-fetched, but they've already done it. Take a look at this.
This is VR vaccine. The VR vaccine is an immersive adventure where the children become a hero about to receive a powerful shield. To make it work, we need one VR gear, one smartphone for the children, one for the nurse, and the VR vaccine app.
Oi! Você voltou! Você voltou!
And what the children experience in the virtual world is matched step by step by the nurse that follows the story on a second screen.
Pronto. Agora o fruto de fogo. Mas ó, vamos lá. Bem rapidinho. Peraí.
All simultaneously calming and entertaining children while helping the nurses to better perform the vaccination.
Funciona. Obrigada. E o que você acha disso?
So, while the children are playing in their matrix, in the real world they're being murdered. Yeah? It's already happened. So this idea of transhumanism, they're trying to sell it to us as if, we will merge with their technology and we'll become enhanced. Well, they don't want that for us, okay? The real transhumanism is us uploading our consciousness to their computer system. That's what they want, okay? Because you are not inside your body, yeah? Your body is an antenna receiving your signal, okay? You're literally not, in here somewhere, yeah? You're not in here. Now, I want you to do a little experiment right now, okay? I want you all to stand up, and I want you to choose somebody at random and point to them. All right, just point to them, point to somebody.
You there.
Yeah? Okay. But most of you, look at where you're pointing. Most of you are pointing here. Is that right? Right, you can sit down now, stop pointing. Most of you are pointing here. You're not pointing here. You can stop pointing. Let it out. There's a fight starting there. Yeah, you're not pointing up here, you're pointing here.
That's a good point.
Because subconsciously, you're being received here at the center of your being. Yeah? Now, I think this is backed up because there's a woman called Claire Sylvia, yeah? And she got a heart and lung transplant, right? And as soon as she got the transplant, her daughter said to her, "Mum, why are you walking around like a bloke?" And all of a sudden she had the urge to eat beer and chicken nuggets, yeah? She was a health food freak, yeah? But suddenly she had this urge for beer and chicken nuggets, right? And then she started having these dreams of having a passionate affair with this young man. And she even knew his name. She couldn't pronounce his second name, so she called him Tim L. And it turns out that the donor was a young man called Tim Lamourade. And from the impression she was getting from this heart and lung, she was able to find the donor's parents.
Wow.
And went and met them and stuff. So the point is that even though this guy's body was dead, the surviving organs that were inside Claire Sylvia, right, were still receiving him. The signal was still there. It's just, for most of us, when our body's dead, there's nothing left to receive it. Okay? The signal was always there. But, she was receiving those signals and interpreting them as her own. Okay? This also explains why you get identical twins who they could be separated for thousands of miles, but they end up doing exactly the same things. Yeah? because it's one consciousness being shared between two identical bodies. Yeah, these two receivers are receiving the same signal. Also explains, what's the word? Schizophrenia and multiple personality disorder. Yeah, when you're picking up more than one signal. Okay. Now I think there's technology out there to, as I said, they're going to be trying to upload out consciousness to their computer systems. But they've already started building these systems. So anybody come across the D-Wave computer? D-Wave quantum computer? Well, it's this huge metal sort of refrigerator, apparently. And it's not like any other computer. It's got no electronics inside as such. It's got some gubbins at the top, and it kind of comes down to this kind of chip. I don't know if you can see this chip at the bottom. That's all that's in there, okay? And I don't know if you can see it, but that chip looks like an eye, doesn't it? It's like the one eye. Right? And again, the bottom's cut off, but if you rearrange the words D-Wave, you get the word demon. Yeah? So let's have a listen to a guy called Geordie Rose, who's behind this machine. Remember, he's talking about a computer system, right?
This is what they look like. There are two of them. These are from our lab in Burnaby in British Columbia. From the outside, they look like giant black monoliths, big metal boxes, about 10 feet on a side, 12 feet tall. And they are powered, they have a fridge inside them, a refrigerator that cools these chips to almost absolute zero. These fridges, interestingly enough, which are called pulse tube dilution refrigerators, have a thing called a pulse tube, which emits a sound roughly once per second, which sounds eerily like a heartbeat. So if you have the opportunity to stand next to one of these machines, it is an awe-inspiring thing, at least for me. It feels like an altar to an alien god. They really are impressive machines. At the heart of this big box is a tiny chip about the size of your thumbnail. And on this chip resides all of the wonder and magic that makes this thing go. I'm not going to describe in any mathematical detail how it all works, but let me give you an analogy. In quantum mechanics, there's this concept that a thing can exist in two states which are mutually exclusive at the same time. Imagine that there really are parallel universes out there, and now imagine you have two that are exactly identical in every respect, all the way out to the horizon as far as we can see, down to the last little atomic detail of every single thing, with only one difference, and that's the value of a little thing called a qubit on this chip, which is a contraction of quantum bit. And that qubit is very much like a bit or a transistor in a conventional computer. It has two distinct physical states, which we call 0 and 1 for bit. In a conventional computer, these are mutually exclusive. That device is either one or the other and never anything else. In a quantum computer, that device can be in this strange situation where these two parallel universes have a nexus, a point in space where they overlap. And if we're smart enough, we can dive into them and grab their resources and pull them back into ours to make an effect in our world.
So, does that not sound extraordinarily dangerous? Yeah. So notice he says, right, no, he doesn't say at the end to calculate numbers or to get a result. He says to cause an effect in our world. Right? He's literally talking about reaching into a parallel universe, right, and bringing something in that has an effect in this world. I don't think there are parallel universes. I think there are multiple probabilities of any particular event happening. Yeah? And what they're doing is reaching back and taking a different probability. Because, you know, at any point in time, a particular probability became reality. But they're reaching back and grabbing a different probability, bringing it into our world, and now a different probability happened, a circumstance happened, and now our world has changed. There was an effect in our world. I think, yes, you were there before me. Where's Brian? Where's Brian? There you go. Yeah, so the Mandela effect. I mean, I dismissed this for the longest time, right? Until I saw C-3PO with a silver leg. I'm like, no! I was the biggest Star Wars fan, yeah? And like, I remember C-3PO being all gold. But no, not in this universe. He's always had a silver leg, yeah? And the Monopoly Man doesn't have a monocle in this universe, yeah? Is Fruit of the Loom a brand over here? Yeah, well I remember the cornucopia. It never had one, ever. Yeah? This is utterly weird. And this is the one that most people have a trouble getting out of their heads. Have a listen to this, I might have to play it, okay? Snow White. See if you spot something. I'm sure you all know it anyway. Do you all know it? Does anybody not know it? Okay.
Slave in the magic mirror, come from the farthest space. Through wind and darkness I summon thee. Speak. Let me see thy face.
What wouldst thou know, my queen?
Magic mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest?
Yeah, what?
Famed is thy beauty,
Yeah.
majesty.
Yeah, so in this universe, she never said mirror, mirror on the wall. She said magic mirror on the wall, yeah? No, I mean, shocked me, yeah? So I think, as I said, they're reaching into the past, making a change, sort of collapsing a different probability into reality, right? And whatever change they made ripples out and makes other little changes around the world, yeah? So I'm going to go back to Geordie Rose. I'm going to have to hurry, but I'm going to go back to Geordie Rose because we're going to have a 5-minute break after a while, after a few more slides. But I'm going to go back to Geordie Rose. He's going to talk about the software, okay? The AI, right? Which I don't think is software. But have a listen to what he says about this AI software.
So Sam Harris, who I quite admire, is a very interesting guy, was reciting this parable at a TED Talk that he was giving. And it goes something like this. So, I am, say I'm the President of the United States. So I received this message from the heavens. So my microwave dish, my SETI dish, finally captures something. And what it says is, in 50 years, or 13 years, we're coming to your planet. You gotta be ready. Now just imagine what would happen if that happened. A super intelligent alien race beamed down a message to all of us Earthlings saying, we're coming July 13th, 2030, and boy, you better be ready because the mothership is landing right on the front lawn of the White House or wherever you wanted to land on that day. The amount of resources that would be marshaled to try to figure out what to do would encompass the whole world. AI is just like that. So when this thing that I'm talking about happens, it's going to be exactly the thing that you're thinking about those super intelligent AIs. So the one thing I can tell you is they're not going to be like us. So alien means, different. These things that we're building are not going to be people. They might be really smart, they might be really good at all sorts of different things, but they're not going to be like us. They're going to be aliens. And they're going to be, I'm sorry to say, way smarter than every single person in this room, in ways that we can't even comprehend. So this, of course, triggers a lot of alarm. One of the guys who talks about this is Elon, who says things like this, like, when you do this, beware. Because you think, just like the guy in the stories, that when you do this, you're going to put that little guy in a pentagram, and you're going to have your holy water out, and you're going to wave it at the thing, and by God, it's going to do exactly what you say, and not one thing more, but it never works out that way. So this is an attitude that some are having, this emerging alarmism about the way this is going to go. But these words, demons, doesn't capture the essence of what's happening here. I don't know if any of you are turn-of-the-century weird fiction fans, but there's this guy named H.P. Lovecraft, who's a very famous American weird fiction author. And he espoused a view which is called cosmicism. And the essence of cosmicism is cosmic indifference. So what he was saying is basically, yes, there are these massively intelligent entities out there, but they're not good, they're not evil. They just don't give a shit about you even in the slightest. The same way that you don't care about an ant is the same way they're not going to care about you. And these things that we're summoning into the world now are not demons, they're not evil, but they're more like the Lovecraftian great old ones. There are entities that are not necessarily going to be aligned with what we want. So this transition is really, really massively important for our entire species to navigate. And going back to that thing that Sam Harris was saying, nobody is paying attention. This thing is happening in the background while people bicker about politics and what's going to be in the healthcare plan in the US. And underneath it all is this rising tsunami that, if we're not careful, is going to wipe us all out.
Listen to this bit.
So, on that pleasant note, we're hiring people to try to make something like this happen.
Did you catch that? He said, this is like to wipe us all out. Let's build it. Yeah? That's a psychopath. Right? So, I've been really negative so far, telling you all the bad part, right? But don't panic. Don't panic. Yeah? There's good news coming. So we're going to have a 5-minute break so you can go and cry somewhere. We'll come back and I'll tell you the solution.